Welcome back to more Legacy of Kain Defiance.
Somewhere in this great cathedral, the heart of darkness lay concealed. The city outside was in chaos, and the cathedral would not be immune for long. During such times, buried secrets were often suddenly revealed, or lost forever.
Yep, we are in Avernus during the time of Blood Omen. I think a little bit before Kain gets here. And if you remember, Avernus is infested with demons, so we want to be careful. Because there might be demons later. You never know. This area isn't nearly as expansive as it was in Blood Omen, because we wouldn't want to render any kind of an environment other than temples, would we? That would be silly. Water Reaver for this one. Huzzah. And I will show off the Water Reaver magic some more, since this is the last video where I'm going to use it. I'm not sure what you have to do to trigger this. I guess that thing in the center. Interact with it. So guess what we get to do to unlock this thing? Oh boy, fight statues. Now don't get me wrong, I could fight Seraphan all day. Knock them off ledges, set them on fire, hit them into spikes. But this sucks. And somehow I got two at once, which is pretty cool. And as you can tell, every time we take one of these things out, it creates a ledge for Raziel to jump on. Because platforming. So yes, we get to do some platforming. Even better. Actually, I'd rather do that than fight statues. If you have not been following the series in its entirety, then go back and watch my first encounter or two with the statues. I show why they're annoying. There's got to be an easier way of fighting them that maybe nobody's figured out, or definitely I have not figured out. But then again, these games aren't generally that well designed, so I can easily see them just making enemies that are tanky for no reason. These are the same devs who thought turning circles was a good way to use a wind font. And let's not forget that boss fight in the cathedral in Blood Omen 2. The same friend who was streaming Blood Omen 2 started streaming Defiance on Discord. And it was interesting watching him play because he had a few different combat strategies that I wish I'd tried. Not completely different from what I do, but he would hit enemies up in the air and then perform a lot more attacks than I did.
I had seen this symbol throughout these ruins. I should have realized what it was they worshipped. Now there was no question, for this scene depicted the ancient vampires' torment and despair as their curse cast them from the wheel of fate. So this was the god whose abandonment had driven them to madness and suicide. Finally, I understood. It was not the bloodthirst, but their immortality that was the true nature of their enemy's curse. The wisest, strongest, most noble race, gulled by the voice of that old parasite. But I had seen him, and whatever he was no god.
No, but he is a dick. And that's the biggest revelation of this video. There is another one coming. You can see the story has picked up a bit in the last few videos. Ever since we ran into Vordor, things have gotten better. And next video, oh boy, things will ramp up. Don't you worry. Whee!
All upon the wheel are blessed.
Rejoice in the turning of the wheel.
It does turn, though we cannot see it.
Your wheel is a lie.
You will turn the wheel.
Come.
Die.
I would rather not. Besides, Raziel has already died twice at least. Once as a human and once as a vampire. So, I don't think he wants to die again. Thankfully, this is the last of the Spirit Guardian fights, and I believe that last statue fight was the final one against them. So, thank God, some of the annoyances are coming to an end. This is also the last trek through one of these temples that look the same. The game does improve massively from here on out, which is nice. But yeah, the vampires worship the Elder God. Awesome. They clearly weren't good at decision making. And that's something I actually did not remember from all the times I've revisited this series. Damn shame, but what are you gonna do? Come on, Guardians. I need you to feed the Soul Basin, whatever this is. Raziel needs a new toy. He was cheated out of it in Soul Reaver 2 because of cut content. And now you're trying to cheat him out of it. Everybody's trying to fuck over the Raziel. So you must help him acquire that new toy. Something else I noticed about this series. None of the characters are what I would call good people. I root for Kain and Raziel because I like those characters. But otherwise, you don't really get anybody that I could say is a good person. There are less evil people, but it seems like there's always a bit of malevolence to any character in this game. Ariel's probably the closest, but even she's kind of a bitch. Although I guess she's deluded in a way because she thinks Kain sacrificing himself will restore the pillars. So she might actually be okay, just delusional. And to be fair, she has gone mad from being a spirit for so long. I love the atmosphere in the spectral realm, however, it seems toned down at this point in the game, which is a damn shame. It seemed like it was emphasized more early on. Then again, I don't think we really spend much time in the spectral realm at this point, and really haven't for a while. Oh boy, another Hilden Gate. Not great security these vampires have if Hilden can just waltz right in. Then again, I guess they got through the pillars. So maybe they are the Nosgothian masters of unlocking. This fight is being censored because your innocent eyes do not need to see what's happening. I love the camera in this game. Actually, I love how it's somehow better and worse than it is in Soul Reaver. That's kind of hard to pull off. I really like this Water Reaver. It's quite nice. I wish we got it earlier in the game so I had more time to play with it. Unfortunately, the last DLC of it is in this video. I won't be using it in combat after this video. The Reaver we are about to pick up is better, so I will be using that for a while. Up until the last Reaver that we're going to get. But we will get there later. Yeah, I just love that you can freeze a whole group of dudes. It really helps make Raziel's combat encounters a little bit more bearable. It's just a shame it takes so much to charge the Reaver just to use it once. The charge attack, that is.
This spirit vessel was shielded by layers of occult energy. There had to be some means to dispel this barrier.
And you can probably guess what that involves. Sticking a Reaver into things. As always. And there are gargoyles here, so we need to sneak past those. There is a Reaver charge, I think, in that room there. I did have some trouble navigating this temple. The center being one giant circle does make it a bit confusing to navigate. Everything kind of looks the same. So that's the easy one of the two. The next one, we need to turn one from dark to light. It's not incredibly complicated to get to, but it's a little more difficult than just walk through a door. Unfortunately. And look, we get to use this mechanic again, which I like. Every now and again, they have some cool ideas. And more often than not, those cool ideas are underutilized. I guess it's better than overusing them. But still. That area would actually not be available to Raziel if Kain hadn't broke it. That's one thing I really like about this game. How Kain does things in the past that allow Raziel to progress. Bro, I'm trying to change my Reaver type. God. So rude. You know what? Get frozen. You can stand there frozen and watch me kill your buddies. It's weird these Hilden are attacking Raziel. Because if they manage to kill him or somebody kills Kain, then they wouldn't have the saviors for their prophesied fight. Which, as you can imagine, we will see in this game. I mean, come on, we already know Raziel and Kain are going to fight. It's been preordained. And it's handled in a very interesting way, I think. But you will see that when we get there. But that would be funny if a random Hilden killed Raziel and then had to answer for ruining the prophecy. And of course his reaction would be, well, you see, the thing is, what had happened was, followed by some random excuse. I doubt his superiors would buy it. His punishment would be to spend the rest of eternity hanging out with Mobius. Because nobody likes Mobius. Mobius is actually a pretty good example of an unlikable character that is well done. In modern entertainment, most characters are unlikable because they're poorly written. Mobius is unlikable, but a well-made character. He's just one of those love-to-hate characters. I just love these areas that are pitch black. They're amazing! Fuck you, Gargoyle.
As the Reaver absorbed the souls of the original Energy and Time Guardians, it was imbued with the elemental power of Earth with which their principles were aligned.
Do you see what I mean now about these things become more tenuous at best? How is energy and time signifying Earth? Yeah, I don't really want to deal with these guys, but they are going to get in the way. This is a mechanic you will only see a couple of times. This can be quite annoying. I failed it a time or two before succeeding. I think just once I failed, but I can't remember. These platforms vanish really quickly. And you look right there. The platform was basically gone when I got up there. If you do this right, if you do this how I'm going to do it, you only need to do that once. Which is pretty good because my original playthrough, I had to do that multiple times. And we don't want to do that. Once is enough. Turn that 3 times. And turn this once. Damn it, Raziel, will you just turn the thing? And kinesis that. Still using kinesis to flip switches. Nice to see we haven't completely grown after Blood Omen 2. So now we will be putting out or starting fires depending on which one of these we come across. I have a lot of issues with Raziel doing that. Now it's twice for each of these. I'm just trying to turn something or activate something, and he's swinging his Reaver around. Damn it, Raziel, put that away. There are children watching. Actually, probably not, because why would a child be watching this? Whatever. Once again, I'm tired after work. And I got to help my friend Thor with an issue he was potentially having, which is related to what I do for work. Yeah, you want to make that jump. That isn't always the easiest jump to make, especially given the camera and the platforming in this game. But if you can pull that off, then you don't have to go down and do that timed platforming bit again, which is a good thing. Because now we can jump right back up here. Look at that. And we can jump from here to the last area we need to go. Don't worry, we'll get there. I was just saving a state. So we need to set these on fire. And these are the last two. So if you can pull that off the way I did it, then you only have to do that once, which is really nice. Now, of course, I had save states because that one jump was really difficult for me. Thank God we don't have to fight any more statues. It's amazing how the beginning and end of this game is really good, but that midsection, poof, it's rough. It's a shame there was so much cut content, because it really would have been nice to see some of that cut content put into those areas that really drag the game down. But I'm not going to bitch about that because we are in the good stretch. And after this video, it only gets better. I would say videos 19, 20, and 17 are the absolute highlights of this game. The opening bit is good more because it's fun to fight as Kain and kill Seraphan. And his scenes with Mobius are pretty good. And you might be saying to yourself, hey, you were bitching about the music in this game being repetitive. Yeah, I added this in. And yes, it was listed as Vordor's theme. You can imagine we will be going back to Vordor's place. However, I thought it was more fitting for a cathedral. So that's why I went with it here. Plus, I'm going to use one of my favorite tracks from Blood Omen when we revisit Vordor's place. Yeah, so this attack does a lot of damage and stuns enemies. I didn't figure that out yet, but I will in the next fight. So you can stun enemies and feed off of them. This is a really good Reaver. Its charge attack is really nice. And those guys are already dead. And those sorcerer guys, you want to take them out ASAP. You will see why when we go to the next area. I'm pretty sure. I think we deal with one. Again, keep in mind, we saw demons in Soul Reaver 2. Azimuth the Planer brought them there. And I believe that's who you fight in Blood Omen in this area. Yeah, we're going to see some demons. too many in this video because I tried that fight a couple of times. But yeah, this place is infested with demons. Excellent. And here's where I learned that I can just feed off of these dudes. Very nice. If anybody's mad about me using that cheat to always have the Reaver fully charged, I'm trying to save time. I'm trying to get to the story, which is the best part of these games. Plus, those charge attacks are fun to use.
As the handsome coffin hides the putrefying corpse within, the great cathedral of Avernus seemed to hold its own secrets, hidden in the catacombs beneath its vaulted chambers. Was this the source of the corruption that infected Nosgoth? Vorador had hinted at something more.
Well, we will have to find out, won't we? And this chapel turned all red for some reason, which I guess matches kind of how it looked in Blood Omen. So I guess Raziel caused that. I still wish that area was reminiscent of something we saw in Blood Omen. And maybe it was, and I just don't remember.
History is written by the victors. Beneath the vaults of Avernus, I discovered scenes that told a familiar story, but from a very different point of view. This was the work of the enemy race, and revealed what the vampire histories had conveniently omitted. How the noble vampires, god-ridden and righteous, had started the wars that would destroy both races, victor and vanquished alike. Their adversaries opposed the vampires' god and refused to submit to the wheel of fate. For this, they were banished. I now understood the poetic irony of their curse, and my resemblance to the vampire's enemy no longer seemed so accidental.
The vampires basically said to the Hilden, "If you don't like the Elder God, you can get out!" Oh boy, another forced fight. Yeah, you want to kill these guys ASAP. Because that'll happen. They will spawn demons. And these are the same demons from Soul Reaver 2. As I said before, Azimuth the Planer originally caused them to be in this universe, as well as something else that we will see next video. There was something else I noticed watching my friend stream this game. Kain actually does get quite a few forced fights at the start. I complained about Kain not getting any forced fights, but he actually did early on. Fortunately, this charged Reaver does a decent job of dealing with them, especially when I use that attack. Excellent. Yeah, I don't know Blood Omen as well as I do the other games. I actually kind of find it funny that Soul Reaver is the game I remember the best. I guess even with all its block puzzles, it's the most memorable. Yeah, so the vampires weren't quite so noble. Definitely led astray, of course. But not so noble. Nubile, maybe. No, nope. Definitely not that. They were quite elderly. Awesome. Why I'm not feeding off these dudes, I don't know. There we go. If memory serves, Kain found the Soul Reaver in Avernus Cathedral, so I wonder if it's still here. But yeah, shit's gonna go down next video.
The banished race foretold a hero who would deliver them from their oppressors and destroy the shackles of the vampire's tyrannous god, the same hero that bore the flaming sword. What game was this, where every player on the board claimed the same pawn?
So, Raziel, your true nature is finally revealed. You were never the vampire's savior. It is to the Hilden race you belong. And when Kain realizes this, what do you think he will do?
I'm sure something violent. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Next time, shit is going to get real.